Last season at this circuit in monsoon conditions, Leo Lund claimed his first RPL title quite a ways early and won with a dominant gap. The season before that, Cookie won from a qualifying ban. The season before that, in season 9, Ads won his first ever RPL F1 race ahead of Reese and Cryptic. What will this one provide in Texas? Austin, Texas, round 14 of the season of season 12 RPL Formula 1. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. Alongside me tonight, RPL Titan Iron. Titan, last week we spoke about it quite enough, and it's going to be in the rearview mirror for McLaren, but both the championship top two collided. Leo Lund in P3 has gained the gap down. Skither is now less than 100 points back. Their shot at winning the championship is slim to none. However, Jack and TB now are separated by 31 points. After that collision last week, Jack still got on the podium, but what are you looking for tonight in terms of this championship race, besides the fact that they collided last week?
Well, I will say, truth be told, that incident last week was a bit of a mess, from what I've heard, the two of them had talked it out, and they are all in all good spirits moving forward into finishing the rest of the championship and the rest of this game cycle. So who knows what's going to be happening? As you mentioned, some of the other constructors, their chances are slim to none. But even though it is sort of in that case a slim to none, that doesn't mean that they are particularly fully out of it. There's still at least 7 rounds left, so anything can happen. We've seen big leads fall in the blink of an eye. We've seen that happen in Season 8. But I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, and time will tell. Drivers' Championship is still a hotly debated topic, and yeah, this is going to be quite fun as we move on into the upcoming races.
The Constructors' Championship is not that close. There's 264 points available after this race. McLaren lead Mercedes by 193 points, meaning I believe next week it is a possibility that they could win it, pending what happens tonight. Mercedes, Red Bull, Aston Martin, second, third, fourth in that championship. Ferrari is fifth, but they're less than a race now behind Aston Martin. Ferrari won last week, Titan, for the first time in 23 rounds. Skither claimed the victory once again in Singapore. His second, he was the first repeat Singapore winner, and his first one came for Ferrari. Now his second one came for Ferrari. Ferrari broke that winless drought, and, honestly, this could be the turnaround of the season that they needed. Back in Baku, both drivers, Alex and Skither, finished third and fourth, excuse me, because it was originally fourth and fifth with Gecko's penalty yet to be applied.
Yep.
That was a scary incident. And now, although KVS last week didn't finish up in the top 5, Skither won the race. They scored really good points. Any bad race, although McLaren are leading this thing, they probably have it in the bag based on the circumstances. But again, as you said, you never know. It's just very slim to none that other teams beat them. But for Ferrari's cases, it could be slim to none that they get second. It could be slim to none that they get third. But anything happens here, even with this race going on for second in the championship, Ferrari could be back in this for all you know.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible, and this is F1 racing. This is RPL racing. You never know what to expect. You could be thinking, oh, it's likely this person or this person's going to get a win or go for it. But then something comes in out of the blue and just throws everything out of whack. It changes the whole landscape and the whole spectacle of what's to come. So, yeah, this is going to be quite good. I mean, Ferrari riding high after that sensational win that they had last week. Skither having a great win on his part. The strategy he played as well really came into light for him, and I mean, it's possible, and we'll have to see what will happen. I mean, we are at Coda. Maybe Ferrari could continue that momentum going into this race.
Speaking of momentum, Leo Lund, he also outscored Jack Miles. He had some controversy in qualifying. He would have still kept the pole position if he did not cut the circuit. Regardless, Leo Lund finished second in the V-Carb. V-Carb shy of a victory once again. 1,953 days, 232 races since their last Tier 1 victory. I feel like Leo Lund is flirting with that. He just came off of a race ban, and, well, someone else in that Red Bull Academy has a race ban now. It's HSR Gecko. He's having to sit this one out.
Yeah, if I saw correctly in a steer report, Gecko got that after getting into a bit of a nasty incident with Alex Norris.
Again.
Yeah, that's why Gecko is not here. And the wildest thing is, I actually did see the penalty points so far this season. Uh, Gecko, um, Gecko and Leo as active racers, they are currently tied for the most active penalty points right now at 14.
Which is a bit of a surprise. Red Bull Academy, in the past, I know you've said it, have had issues with keeping it clean, but in all honesty, they're very fast racers. They've both are. Gecko's won a race this season. Leo's won a race this season. More than one race. 2 races. Actually, 3. But the first 2 he won from pole. Gecko won from pole in his race, but no one's won from pole since then, and it's a very weird thing to say considering Leo won most, if not all, of his races last season from pole position, and usually we've had a trend of dominant seasons where we have drivers win from pole position, even our championship leader. Well, our championship leader has only started on the front row once this season. Leo and Gecko in the first 3 rounds, both their victories, ended up being from pole position. So it's clear, Titan, that both Red Bull drivers there that we've spoke about have a ton of pace. But as we know it in any RPL race, and especially with these two, they need a reminder of it time and time again, which really sucks because if it's not for this, they'd be a lot higher in the championship. Leo and Gecko, fast drivers, just need to use their heads, and it really does suck for the situation. But one other thing I want to mention so we don't get caught up on the negatives, I'm very surprised about Jack Miles this season. Not only the fact that he's leading the championship, I did not have that on my bingo card entering the season, but you know what I did not have on my bingo card either? I know he's really good at qualifying every once in a while. And he had that trend of 1 pole every season for 4 straight seasons. Obviously, he's not had that pole since Abu Dhabi. We're going to keep talking about it. But I'm going to keep talking about now the fact that I just found out last night, 1 front row start this season. That was in Hungary when they got 1 too. But I cannot believe that we might end up having our first Tier 1 champion not to have a pole position if this does continue.
And you know one other thing that Jack does not have as of yet all this season? And I'm actually a little surprised. I thought he had at least 1, but he doesn't. Jack Miles so far has not gotten a fastest lap this season. He has not done it. Currently, with the fastest laps, Leo Lund leads the way with 4, Skither has 3, TB has 2, and then Florian, Reese, and George are tied with 1 apiece. Jack has yet to even get 1. I thought he did have 1, but I guess I was wrong.
Maybe that means as well, Titan, that both McLarens don't have a fastest lap. When did George get his? He raced a McLaren in Jeddah, but that was it.
He had it last week in Singapore.
So McLaren don't even have a fastest lap as well.
Well, TB's got a couple.
You said TB's got a couple? I didn't hear his name. Maybe I was wrong. But still,
Yeah,
that is...
TB's got 2 fastest laps to his name.
Okay, thank you. All right, yeah. That's still mind-boggling, though, to me. Jack Miles, your championship leader. That, to me, shows the consistency in raw race pace. Not as much qualifying pace. 1 front row start this season. Yeah, last week, I thought he would have got a better qualifying, but he didn't really have the best of qualifyings, even though he qualified 3rd. I still don't think that's what his potential could have been, especially for McLaren. This is a really fast car. Even over 1 lap, they should be having more pole positions. TB had got 2 this season. He's somebody who never tends to be on pole a lot. He had 2 in 2 previous seasons, 7 and 8. That was. Now this season. But Jack doesn't even have a pole. Is he waiting to the end of the season to get that first and maybe only? I don't know. It's interesting.
Oh, Jack doesn't have a pole yet either? I'm a little surprised.
Jack does not have a pole this season. Season 8 Abu Dhabi was his last pole. 80 races ago. One front row
Maybe
start
it's in
though,
the tier
Titan.
one.
One.
Yeah, it's the tier one stats. I haven't checked the tier one stats in a little while, so I didn't know.
I gotta update it too, but still, yeah, it does amaze me. Well, this race last season, by the way, Leo Lund took victory over TB, then Skither, Reese, and Cookie, the top five. And yeah, that was a wet race. So it started out dry, went to the wet compound about 4 or 5 laps in, I want to say. We did have an early safety car, so that did change the complexion of things too, as to when you want to go to certain tires. I remember Red Fire, and there was another driver on that strategy who tried it. It paid off for a little bit, but it didn't really get them the points finish that they would have wanted. Someone who did get a points finish last season was Knights for Alpine. He'll try to get another one maybe for Haas. Reese Dainty got a P4 and a V-carb, as we said. And that was only... Remember, Skinner was on the podium in this race last season, Titan. That was his only podium that season.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think about from a champion. With that being said, and he won last week, broke that drought, which is good, but will we see more podiums for Skither? He's already had 2 in a row. So, here are some of your headlines, penalties, changes, and things to look forward to for tonight's race. We have our Tier 3 and Tier 2 winner we want to congratulate. Congrats to yesterday's Tier 2 winner, Torn Penguin. Miami Miracle right there, pulled off. First win for Red Bull, second win on RPL. Tier 3 winner, Mally41, congratulations once again. He is moving down to Williams to kind of help that situation out. Skither, for the remainder of the season, is the Ferrari Academy assistant. We have season bans continuing, obviously, for Roman, AFJ, Pascal. Gecko's got a race ban. Cookie and Owen, their next chance to race, they have qualifying bans. Cookie is racing tonight, and he has a qualifying ban to serve. Knights, you see him in the Haas tonight. Well, he's going to be full-time in the Kick Sauber for next season, on next game. Luke Range will return to the Haas and return to RPL Tier 1 next game. He got chosen for that Haas seat over Minico. There's a little debate going on there.
Wow.
Some argued that they'd want Minico over Knights, but you know what? That debate's for another time. We're loading into qualifying. Willow's not here tonight, but he is full-time for Alpine next season. Oh, we just lost somebody. I don't know who it was. I don't know who we lost. But
yeah, I was just about to see, but then it just went over to the load up.
Our other thing we have to mention too is there were 2 contracts that swapped. Ding is now back in Aston Martin. Willow is in Mercedes to continue out this season. And we have some drivers here racing in different spots for tonight. Some on loan, some reserving. Torn Penguin on loan to Williams. Egg and George are in the Red Bull because of Gecko's race ban. Believe Alex is still in the Sauber. JTK and Andrea both full-time now in the Alpine. SV is the one we lost. He's back in here. Red Fire is in the Mercedes. So is Cookie. Red Fire, by the way, here's an interesting stat. Last season for Williams, reserving, he made Q3 numerous times. He's not made Q3 once this season.
Wow.
Close, I think, once.
I have to make a little slight laugh at you because when you were just mentioning on that driver, him reserving, you just said preserved, not reserved.
Well, I think everyone know what I meant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. As you were mentioning about with contracts, yeah, I was taking a look at it, and there's quite a few to list off in all the tiers. For next game. Like say you mentioned Depth Knights and Sauber for Tier 1. We have Timbed going to be in McLaren, and Netsky are going to be in McLaren for Tier 3 next season. That'll be quite interesting. That'll be quite an interesting one. You did mention Luke being in the Haas. Yeah, that could be a bit of a unique talk around going forward in that one. Ardell is going to be in Ferrari for next season for Tier 3. SV and Haas for Tier 2 next season. This guy's new, I think. SL1X4. I'm gonna say
Slicks, that
Slicks
is.
4. Yeah, Slicks
Yep.
4. He's in V carb for tier 3 next season. Devin going to tier 3 Red Bull. Gobert in Aston Martin for tier 3. Now, as with that change, there's Aston going to Red Bull Academy next game via that new change for those that didn't know from last week. Willow going to Alpine for tier 1. I did mention that to Owen that Willow is actually pretty dang good,
There you go.
and even though he's like very fresh in regards to races run, he's got the capabilities, and I think he's gonna be he'll do pretty good moving forward. Beatnik gonna be in tier 3 Red Bull, the team with Devin. That'll be pretty fun. Scorenzi in V Carb for tier 3, Mythic and Aston. So basically tier 3 for Red Bull Academy, they're done. So they're ready to go. And then one
Yeah, we
that's
have
a bit
lots
of
of
a
contracts.
yeah, there's one that's a bit of a controversy from what I was hearing in the TP chat.
Oh boy.
Night Owl was going to be in tier 2 Ferrari, but
Now
apparently there's a
Reese's.
possibility. Oh, Reese is in it now? So I
Reese
guess.
is in it with Night Owl. That's a deadly lineup if that does stay. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
they're
yeah,
thinking
if it
of
does
maybe
stay,
moving them up.
because.
That's what
I'm
I
not sure
think you
about
heard.
Reese. I know Night Owl. George was thinking of possibly banning Night Owl because they think Night Owl was too fast
Well, can I
for
give an
that
opinion
car.
on that? We
Go ahead.
ahead of this game, we restricted more assists. You know, and I say we because I was admin at the time. We restricted more assists at the start of this game for each tier. So I think if you're George, and I think you got to understand that, you know, banning people from tiers, I get it, but we don't know what next game is going to be like yet with certain assists. Obviously, Night Owl says, I've tried ABS off, I can't do it. And Vape did clarify, they both possibly could. Night Owl and Reese both in Ferrari for next season. By the way, Alex
Yep.
Norris has started a lap. We've not forgot about that. Torn Penguin as well. Leo Lund did say the race is going to be rain at the end of it.
Oh, that'll be
We
interesting.
have damp conditions with light rain, the race says. So it starts off as sunny and then gets
A little
wetter by the
wet at the
moment.
end.
If
Yeah.
yeah, if you can, invite SV back. With that being said, we're gonna have our first lap on our boards, and that will be Alex Norris for Kick Sauber. Around this circuit, he's actually never raced here in RPL. We had a tier 3 race here before. We had a tier 2 race here before. But Alex Norris around Andretti corner, out of the final corner, does complete the first lap with a 32-0. We have Torn Penguin coming up next on loan, remember. Overtake button on use in this final sector. And not a lot of battery to spare. 3 right-handers, kind of like Turkey, except this time instead of left-handers, it's all right-handers. In the
And it's a little
Williams,
tighter.
exactly. Andretti corner, last corner that is, turn 20. Deployment used, crossing the line, and it is a 2.5 difference for yesterday's winner. Congratulations to Torn Penguin who won in Miami. Obviously, a Williams winning tonight might not happen, and probably will not happen, but that'd be a cool story back-to-back days to do so. The fake TB, we're going to go on board with him as he's on a lap. Titan, this S section is notorious, as you would say it, for track limit encounters. The end
Oh,
of the S
yes.
section, same there. This whole circuit, you could really say that about as well. We had, last season, only 5 drivers finish the Grand Prix without track limit penalties. And that was a wet race.
Yeah, that entire area of Sector 1, basically that whole S section from turn 3 all the way to turn 11, that is very, very infamous for a lot of track limit warnings and penalties. It's decided many points positions, whether it be at the back of the points paying positions, even podiums, and I believe only one time in RPL, believe it was in tier 2 at this track, where track limit penalties actually wound up deciding the winner because of that. And it's not just
Trust.
that whole snake section that I'm gonna call it there, but turn 19, the penultimate corner, it's also another spot where you can get a lot of track limit warnings and penalties. Whether it be cars going just a bit too wide on the exit, or in the rare case of people cutting the corner just a tiny bit too early. You gotta be careful these areas. They're very nasty, and they will chew you up if you're not careful.
TB has completed a lap. Egg has completed a lap. Cookie, even though he has a qualifying ban, has completed a lap. We have Jack Miles.
I believe it was said he is good on his qualifying ban. I believe they said it was
It
all good.
showed in unserved penalties. Yeah, unserved penalties. Cookie, qualifying ban as of February 18th. Jack Miles across the line. He's had podiums at all the U.S. circuits. He'll be third fastest in this session. He got a little assist there from, I believe, JTK starting a lap. Yes, he did. Very well done there from the Alpine/McLaren Academy, working some stuff out there. We'll go on board with one of the drivers on a lap. We have KVS on a lap. We're going to go back with him. DRS applied. Overtake on use. Lots of it as well. George is fourth now. Red Bull have both cars in that top four.
Yeah, to be fair, I think George lately, ever since getting that call up to Tier 1, he's been showing consistency and actually been showing vast improvement in regards to his pace. So I'm thinking I mean, if George really just keeps up the momentum and keeps that strong momentum going forward as the races progress, I mean, is there a possibility maybe we might see George on top in a race maybe before the end of the game cycle? Who knows?
On podium has to be first, I would have to say, with George, because he's yet to have a Tier 1 podium. KVS is fifth now across the line. There's also a Mercedes crossing that might have been, that's Cookie, going again. Well, Ding crossing to do his first lap. He's on the inners, so that's not representable. JTK, though, is on a lap. Last time ago, he gave Jack, a little toe down the back straight. I think Jack may have repaid the favor. I couldn't tell, but right now, as SV is continuing to struggle getting in a car, JTK is crossing, and JTK is fourth fastest in the Alpine.
Yeah, JTK is always full of surprises in regards to his qualifying pace. He is, I mean, basically essentially to what we saw at the beginning with Leo Lund. Like, we didn't expect what could happen, but Leo Lund in the beginning was able to make a lot of momentum and a lot of magic when he was in the Alpine, putting that Alpine in the top 5 in China 2 seasons ago. But JTK basically following the same in regards to qualifying pace. He really has that fire and momentum on him. He just has to keep that consistency forward into the race. And also, just want to note, because I did find it, at 2:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, George in the Tier 1 drivers chat did say that Cookie does not have a qualifying ban.
Alright, so that has been clarified then. JTK, yeah, the only thing I was just going to add on here is that he had a podium at the most recent U.S. race we ran at, Las Vegas. Him and KVS both up there on the podium. And we have FX7 Danny crossing now. 10th fastest. Red Fire put at 9th fastest. Our top 10 is within half a second. Cryptic went 4th, by the way, too. Just moments
this is quite
after JTK's lap.
Yeah, this is quite a spectacular, close-knit feel between the Tier 1 drivers here. As you mentioned, about half a second separating the top 10, and that is pretty dang incredible, to say the least. And if we had to add Knights into the mix, the top 11 are within a second of each other. That is how tightly compact it is. Now, I have just switched over to a individual who has been really shining in qualifying in regards to any car that he's in, whether it be a slow brick of Williams or a mid-field topper like Aston. I'm on board with Leo as he goes through the S section.
Yeah, Leo Lund on a lap. And we had 3 U.S. races last season compared to the 2 this season, and Leo Lund got pole at every single one of them. Can this Q1 lap be the calm before the storm for Leo Lund? what could be pole position later on tonight. Cryptic, believing he's safe up there. So does George. Both of them have good enough laps to quit out the session and wait for Q2 and watch the rest of them go. Leo Lund entering the sector split down here at turn 12. Easy to lock up, he did. But he is right within these white lines, trying to push the track limits. 0.8 here from Leo. Now, trying to use all the track he can. You could call this a snail section or a twisty section. It does feel like a roller coaster. A little slide there from Leo. Overtake on use. Now the triple right. 2 more corners to navigate.
I think Leo might be getting the top spot just by a little bit. But let's see what happens as he comes out of the final corner here and goes across the line. Ooh. And he roars on up, and by half a second exactly, he's on top over Egg.
Andrea found some time. He is now 12th fastest in that Alpine. Yeah, I also I must say about this Red Bull Academy lineup, whether it's Egg and George, Leo and Danny, even though Danny's not close to Leo, it must be said that the Red Bull Academy have quite the strong lineup tonight, all around. I would even say that Red Bull lineup with Egg and George only is a really strong lineup. More of a strong lineup than people might think. SV finally has got a chance to take control of a car. He hard reset his Xbox, and he is now in a car. Ooh, big moment from Leo Lund. Miniko's also here as well. So SV is in the Sauber. Miniko will be in the Haas. And welcome back, Miniko. I believe he got a podium in Season 10 of Vegas. So a US race there. And Leo Lund shaking the steering wheel quite aggressively.
Yeah, maybe
we'll go over everything.
He's got a bit of a bug. Maybe he's got a bit of a bug in regards to his wheel or something. Maybe he has one of those. But I just took a look at the sector splits between Egg and Leo, by the way, just for shits and giggles. Egg and Leo have set an identical Sector 3 time of a 29.6. But then in regards to Sector 1 and Sector 2, Leo 3.5 tenths faster in Sector 2, and in Sector 1, about a tenth and a half separates Leo and Egg. So in regards to those sectors, as mentioned, Leo Lund 10th and a half advantage over Egg in Sector 1 and 3.5 tenths in Sector 2. But in Sector 3, they were dead on equal.
Miniko is joined in place of what Maxwell was supposed to be in. Drivers wondering how is Leo so much quicker in Sector 2. That is a good question, considering that V-Carb straight line speed is not good. And look at Sector 2 right there. Ding went purple. There's not many corners in Sector 2 compared to the other parts of the circuit. Ding's lap prior was on intermediate tires. He's kept this valid so far, but he's part of the drivers in the bottom 4. Now can Ding knock Torn Penguin out, who currently sits on the bubble. Where will Ding go? A little slide into the final corner, but across the line, he's 13th. He may have to go again, and the time is ticking for Ding to go again as well.
But just a bit of a dumb question to ask on your screen. Am I seeing what I'm thinking I'm seeing? Because on the top right, I see the telemetry. It shows SV. But on the grid, it shows the Sauber as Magnussen. Does that say that for you as well?
I don't see it. Let me see.
Oh, never mind. I just hit the start and returned, and it went back to
No, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Okay.
SV on a lap. Skither in that bottom 4 as well. On an out lap, Torn Penguin has started one as well. Time is ticking, as we said, and you got to get a lap in now. If you're not getting a lap in now, you at least got to be on the circuit now with 2.5 minutes remaining. Minute 30 on the lap. 102.5 there in the sector split for SV. That's quite a ways away off of Leo Lund in terms of that sector and area of the track. He'd be 1.5 seconds off right now, but that would get him safe into the next round of qualifying. His target is beating Alex Norris, who sits currently just ahead of Torn Penguin in terms of the time and the places. SV through 2 more corners to go. What will it be? for the Indian driver who won his first
Whoa!
race in Tier 3 a little bit ago, but right now he has a big moment out of that final corner. Costly moment there for SV, who's only down in 17th. Skither, the home driver, is getting ready to start a lap as well. Torn Penguin is coming through a sector split, a 10th up in the first sector. The second sector, he is down, so he backed off on that lap. We're going to go with FRC Knights, who's invalidated. Now we're going to go to Ding. Ding is starting a lap. We'll actually go to Skither then, because Skither's in that bottom 4. He needs a time now, and if he does invalidate this one, it's game over, because he crossed the line there with a minute 30 to go. Leo Lund's lap time is a minute 34.51. So Skither is in the danger zone here, but needs a lap desperately, and needs it to be a clean one as well.
Yeah, you really can't make any mistakes. If you make a mistake, invalidate at this point, consider your qualifying done and dusted. 24.8 for Skither on that one. That's about 300s down from Leo, but it's still pretty representable at this present moment.
Skither down the back straight. DRS will be activated. Lots of ERS to spare. He'll burn that battery. Below 50% now. This is exactly where he wants to make up the time, because he may not be pushing enough. He knows he's got the car underneath him and can get the lap in time. 30 seconds to go in a few moments here. We'll check what the other drivers are doing in a few moments. 4/10 off of what Leo Lund was doing in that sector split when he went by it. Not bad from Skither. It looks to be all okay. We're going to switch to SV, who's invalidated. He is starting one. Luckily, he has enough time to do so. Torn Penguin is going to be out of this qualifying session. He is invalidated as well. Alex Norris, it's do or die for him. Skither, 2 more corners to go. That corner, he collided with another home driver, a Beatnik in this race back in Season 9. Hopefully, clean today, but clean on this lap. 4th fastest for Skither. He is safely through. Alex Norris needs a lap desperately. Nice checkered flag. Alex Norris, 2/10 up on the table, and this could be a lap getting him into Q2 for Sauber. Last week, in the race at Singapore, he was just shy of Q3 and getting them back there. But right now, the goal is Q2. Not even Q3 being thought about right now. Torn Penguin crossed the line. Obviously, he invalidated. He was done. Alex Norris, it's up to him now. Can he knock out Academy teammate FRC Knight, who'll be driving this car next game? Alex Norris is in! Alex Norris, by the skin of his teeth, has got into Q2 for Kick Sauber. SV is the only one to do a lap that is going to be maybe session changing. Remember, he had that mistake, but right now, it's only 30 thousandths.
Yeah, Alex Norris gets Knights by just about 700ths of a second here. SV is going to really need to do something to get by here. He has to get over 1.6 seconds faster in order to knock Alex Norris out. But here he comes out of the final corner. Much better exit than this time around, and he does not improve.
But he did find lap time, just did not improve any places.
Yep.
How much was he off there? Leo Lund, Egg, TB, the top 3. 2 different Red Bull Academy cars in that top 2.
He had a 33 exact.
Yeah, he was not going to beat Torn Penguin there.
Yeah, no.
It didn't look like a bad lap there, but with his mistake early on, it wasn't as costly as we thought. So, being knocked out of Q1, FRC Knights for Haas. Torn Penguin for Williams. SV for Sauber. And because of serving the qualifying ban after being late, it is Minico in the Haas. So we have no Williams in this next session. No Haas drivers in this next session. But we did have a Sauber getting his way through. Alex Norris. A nice little shocker once again.
Yeah, quite a nice little shock as well, honestly. And seeing Alex Norris up into Q2, that's actually really good for him. But now we're moving on into Q2 itself. I don't know if Alex Norris is going to be getting any further and get himself into Q3. But I'm wondering if JTK in that Alpine, I wonder if he's going to recreate what he did last week and manage to get that Alpine into Q3 like he did last time.
But just remember, Leo Lund in the V-Carb. in this session, he's in the sixth fastest car. And we have 2 Mercedes in this session, 2 Astons, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Ferraris, 2 McLarens in this session. If Leo Lund does a good enough lap, just like Monza, just like Baku, just like other races this season, someone's going to be knocked out who ordinarily is not knocked out. And if we have, like you said, JTK surprise everybody, maybe Alex Norris, maybe even Danny, things can change with a blink of an eye. Andrea's in the session as well. Everyone seems to be racing out there, but there is no rain on the forecast for this qualifying session. I think there's some drivers who just want to get that lap out of the way, and reasonably so. 20 turns around the circuit, 3 sectors as always, but 2 DRS zones, and lots of places to use that battery. Our first on track in this queue is a McLaren. That is Jack Miles, ahead of the V-Carb and Aston weaving in the background.
That would be Cryptic and Leo Lund behind Jack right there.
So there you have it. Cryptic's actually had a good record around the circuit. I did hear before this race he's happy not to be stuck in that Mercedes. He said he was losing quite a bit of time and quite a bit of confidence in that car. Now he can be a nice little surprise again and under the radar in that Aston.
A little bit of a gangle there.
Jack Miles invalidated the outlap, but he should be good for this lap. Yes, he is. This is the first lap we start on. Jack Miles, the championship leader in Q2, trying to start one here with a Ferrari getting out of his way. Luckily, turn 1 you could do a little inside line touch, a little exit touch where you go outside then inside. You could either focus on your entry or exit of the corner, as they would say. But now here, you just got to focus on the track limits. Keep it within those white lines while pushing it. The S section, a little wiggle for Jack. But Jack Miles has completed the first sector cleanly with a 25-0. This section, very tricky on the gears. Look at that, almost hopping over the curb and spinning out the rear. He's had 2 moments on the rear, so we'll see how that compares to others. But Jack Miles looks clean so far. Turn 11 now, another corner just like turn 1 where you can do the little, I guess, shuffle slide with entry, exit. What do you focus on right there? That's going to become the question later on, especially when we're in wheel-to-wheel action. Now, less than 50% on that battery. Sector split we come.
Yeah, let's see what Jack's got as he goes across here. It's a 1.6 for that sector, for the sector 2. Not bad at all as he navigates through the switchbacks. And let's see what he's got. A little slide about out of 16. 15. And that's the triple right into the penultimate corner. Nice entry, a little slide there. Oh, there's a car off. That's a Mercedes. That must be Cookie right there. Sorry for Cookie being off in the gravel. But benchmark, 31.8 for Jack.
We have more crossing. NRM KVS as part of the cars in the queue. So is Leo Lund going fastest. Cryptic. Now KVS takes over the top spot in Q2. Remember, some of these guys are on used sets. Red Fire is up there. George, we're watching him complete this lap. You talked about George early on, a potential of a victory, a potential of a podium as well. The first target is pole position, and obviously you got to get there to Q3 with a good enough lap. George crossing now.
Yeah, George coming across. He's only 5th fastest with a 31.5. That puts him right behind his teammate by about 2.5 tenths. But
FX7 Danny, the only driver not on track, by the way.
Yeah, I have noticed that. I mean, it looked like he was on an out lap, but then bailed off after invalidating. I think he must have had a time lap, then invalidated, so he went back to the pits, and is going to be trying again.
Andrea crossed. Now it's JTK's turn. How do the Alpine boys compare to each other? JTK is 3rd! Unbelievable! Wow. Again! Even though it could be used in new sets, he did this in Q1. This guy deserves the name that Korsman used to have. The Flying Dutchman is what he has been.
Shucky ducky, what a lap by GTK on that one. That was unexpected and quite a fierce lap to boot. Being just a smidge below 10th behind Leo Lund. That is not bad in the slightest. Here comes Skither now out of the final corner and comes across the line. He puts it on the front row with his buddy KVS, and a 10th separates them. Very good, solid stuff from Skither there. going into Q2. TB now is up next. The driver second in the championship moves up, and he goes into 5th, which means, in a shocking switchback of events, Jack is now getting close to that bubble zone.
And remember, TB was eliminated in 2 previous rounds recently in qualifying in the 2nd round.
Both quite crazy upsets there, and I mean that most recent one was in Baku when he started all the way down in P12. But I mean, even though he started that far back, he still managed to do pretty decently in regards to the race itself. He did wind up finishing in 2nd place. Yeah. So I mean, even if you wind up starting in that midfield section, sometimes with specific drivers, they can make the most of it and just carve their way through the field and still get a good finish.
One thing I must say, though, for TB's case tonight, he has to start ahead of Jack. Last week in Singapore, he was behind Jack. Jack started 3rd, but Jack only has had 1 front row start this season. TB 2 pole positions. And I really think that will be the difference tonight in terms of having a good race, especially with the rain supposed to come at some point later on.
Yeah, but the rain coming in at some point later on, it also bears into your tire strategies. So you got to figure out what is the best option to go with. I mean, there are probably, if the timing is right, we could see drivers starting on hard tires and go long until the rain shows up, then switch onto the inters. Or some could play it safe and just say, you know what, maybe I'll just take a gamble with 2 pit stops. Start on whatever compound, then go on to another compound, and then switch the inters when the rain comes in. It's basically all a tactical mind game and just making sure you manage and run the tires decently.
By the way, we have 2 home drivers partaking in this event tonight. Cookie down in 12th, Skither up in 2nd. Both drivers are not from Austin, Texas, or Texas as a state, but they are from Florida, which is not too far from here.
They're more closer to Miami than it is Coda.
Yeah, well, they're actually more closer to Texas or any U.S. race than I am, and both of us combined.
Yeah, I mean, and
we're closer to Canada,
since they are from, and since they are from Florida, they technically can have the well, I'm not sure if it's a bit of an insult, but they technically do have the moniker of the Florida man.
Jack Miles. He's the man on a lap right now. 2/10 up right here. Maybe that's the difference with used and new sets, but it does make JTK's lap still impressive regardless. Up in 4th. Jack Miles. Championship leader by 31 points. He's had, I feel like, just an okay season in terms of qualifyings, but for what this car should be doing, it is a bit of a surprise to only have him on the front row once this season. Back in Hungary, that was.
I mean, Jack right now is setting the fastest sector 1. He is 17 thousandths faster than KVS in sector 1. Going into sector 2 now, the gap is almost equal. It's about 200ths the difference. But Leo, Jesus, I just switched to Leo Lund. He's almost 4.5 tenths up.
So scrap that about Jack. Jack Miles, 2 more corners to navigate. What's it going to be for the Welshman? Lots of ERS still on the end of the lap. Uses it to cross the line. 30.7. We are into the 30.7s for this qualifying session. You mentioned Leo Lund, who is about to complete a lap. What's this one looking like for the Swedish driver? 30.2 for Leo Lund. 5/10 clear again. Now you got FX7 Danny on a lap, who is yet to complete one. We'll switch to the Red Bulls. Egg is crossing. He's 2nd fastest, so he does leapfrog Jack Miles. George is on a lap as well. Cryptic is in the sector split now. Is he improving in the 2nd sector? Yes, he is. So we'll switch back to FX7 Danny, who does not have a lap on our board. It was a miracle a few rounds ago, getting into the next round of qualifying, and I believe either Monza or Baku. But now he's going to need a little bit of help here to get into Q3, that's for sure.
It was Monza.
Yeah, thank you.
Still, Baku is
teammate
just
assist
short
on that one. Yeah, well, it was Baku, I believe, that we had Skither out in Q2 as well with TB.
Yes.
That's why I was
Cryptic
thinking
goes
of
up to
Baku.
4th. Not bad for him.
He's always had good runs around this circuit. 3 podiums to his name in the USA at Texas. Danny, 2 more corners to negotiate. 16% on that battery, having to spare a lot. He may have enough time to come back in. Whoa, big wiggle. Big wiggle. Danny does get a lap in, but he is 9th with that lap nonetheless. Georgia Williams got a little help from his teammate, I believe. Eggles gave him an assist down that back straight into turn 12. But George is finding time right now in this lap to respond.
Yeah, this is gonna put him right now up in the 8th place. It's gonna put him just ahead of
traffic.
TB. Yeah, bit of traffic.
Quite a bit, actually, considering Leo Lund and I believe a McLaren having to pull out of the way. That's Jack. George crossing, and George is 5th fastest. It looked a little bit better than what it actually was. Ding now, in that bottom 5.
Yeah, he's not the only one that's in that bottom 5 as well. Also, both Mercedes are in that bottom 5 as well. And that's not really good for either one of them, especially Cookie as well. Seeing him that far down is not a pleasant sight in the slightest.
Yeah, well, Cookie had to come back from a qualifying ban in this race, but it was also the first pole position for him in RPL at this circuit back in Season 7. It was either a 2nd or 3rd start, but nonetheless, little wiggle again for another driver crossing the line. Cookie up to 4th. That's putting the fake TB on the bubble now, with Ding in the final sector now, completing a lap. A lot of battery still on this Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, TB is definitely at risk, but you have guys like Danny who just got himself back into the pits. So I think Danny might be okay to quickly switch on to a new set and get himself in there. Ding just put himself at P10.
TB invalidated a lap time. It's do or die again for TB. 3 of the last 4 races.
This is just gonna be wild.
We have Ferraris on a lap too.
Yeah. I think have we seen a bit of a glaring weakness on TB's part?
I don't know, but he's got to make sure he gets this lap well done. Cookie and Skither both in a voice chat, helping each other, besides being in different academies. Skither gets the toe, and he's up by nearly 5/10 at the sector split. George, Cryptic, Egg, they call it quits. They believe they're safe. I would say, as well as Leo Lund, 3 of the 4 should be. We'll find out by the end of the session if George's call, as well as Cryptic's, was the right one. Skither, 3 more corners to go through with the help of Slipstream from Cookie. Less than 90 seconds to go, and the home driver looks to be in the Q3, but 1 more corner. Will it be enough? Yes, it is enough.
Wow.
2nd place on the board for Skither, our 2-time champion. TB's back on a lap. 85 thousandths up in the first sector, but Titan, you know it just as well as I do. He needs more than that. JTK on an outlap, Ding on a lap. They have a chance to improve when the time is right. TB has the sector split he's coming through now. We'll see if there's any progress, but if there's not, it's going to be scary times for the runner-up right now in the championship. 3/10.
And just 3/10, so that's going to put him right around with George down at P8 right now. But there's still a few more corners to go. He has to be careful with turn 19 and not go too wide up. Through the triple right, handling pretty decently, going up into 7th gear, downshifts down to 5th, little slide on the apex of turn 19, now into 20, a little easier exit coming up and coming across the line. TB does improve, but he's only 9th fastest. And
he's going to have to hope for more.
GTK is already a 10.5 up in Sector 1.
You stole it out of my mouth. Ding is also up in the first sector as well. He's getting towed along by a Sauber on a lap. That's Alex Norris on a lap, by the way. So it could be troubling for Ding. This would be an absolute miracle for TB. Look at crossing the line. That is a Red Bull livery car. FX7 Danny is out. He has been knocked out of qualifying. Right now through the sector split, JTK is up by even more. Purple in the 2nd sector. Ding is getting held up. Look at this 3-car kerfuffle. Slipstream to Alex Norris. But will it
Well, the
matter for
Ferraris
Ding?
help
Ding
on.
is being held up on this lap by being caught behind Alex Norris at a costly time. That Ferrari was Skither, who's back in the pits. Enter KVS on a lap. That was the one helping Alex Norris. So JTK, will he be safely through? He already is right now. He is. TB's on the bubble. He's at risk now as well. Ding, red fire, Alex. Red fire next. Red fire's up. Red fire's through. TB's out again. That's the third time in 4 races he's out. Ding couldn't do it as well. I think that traffic from Alex Norris there, getting caught in the queue, trying to get that toe, did not pay off. TB, Ding, 2 champions in that bottom 5. Danny, Andrea, Alex we're also saying goodbye to as well. Red Fire, for the first time this season, is in Q3.
And the difference between TB and George, it's literally 0.115 was the difference between George and TB. So TB, once again, out of qualifying for Q2, that is a bit of a surprise. And for Red Fire to pull off an upset to get himself into Q3 in that Mercedes, that was a nice little surprise there.
JTK as well through like you predicted. Leo Lund fastest had a Skither and Egg. And that relegation zone, by the way, Titan. Oh boy.
Cookie just says, to chill, man. A Sauber isn't the best car to get slipstream from.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it should be the other way around.
He found out the hard way.
It should be the other way around, yeah. TB, Ding, 2 prior champions in that relegation zone. Danny, Andrea, Alex. We're saying goodbye to them. 8 tenths behind the fastest driver in the qualifying session, and he still gets knocked out. Unbelievable. Yeah. Oh my days. Ding, TB, 2 former champions. We say it again. Knocked out of qualifying. A McLaren and Aston Martin. JTK's pace, by the way, has been incredible. I believe he's online, but for an Alpine, I think this is like the first week in a while I've actually had to write down the last time an Alpine had a pole, because this pace has been quite interesting and quite a shocker, in a good way, that is. In this qualifying session, 2 Mercedes, 1 Aston Martin, 2 Red Bulls, 1 V-Carb, 1 Alpine, 2 Ferraris, and 1 McLaren. Let us know in the chat, folks, commentators, fellow drivers, fellow TPs, fellow members, who you think will be in that top 3. Maybe with a pole time as well, because last season we had a pole time of a 29.7 from Leo Lund. Titan, I gotta ask, TB, Ding? I mean, I want to say Ding's a surprise, but there's always something that tends to be a bigger surprise to kind of be an outlier compared to Ding, who got knocked out. TB, that surprises me. I thought he'd get a better lap in there. Again, he's out. He needed to out-qualify Jack Miles, and he didn't.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a shock and a surprise. I'm thinking, as I mentioned it's this a possible glaring weakness for TB, that possibly certain tracks is basically ripping them apart in regards to the qualifying pace. But, I mean, think about what I mentioned about Baku a couple of weeks ago. He got knocked out in Q2 by barely anything. He was knocked out of Q2 and didn't make it into Q3. Then in the race, in the first lap, he dropped down to P13 after an incident in the midfield, slowed him down just a little bit. But he still managed to claw his way up into second place and finish in second place. Are we going to be seeing that happening again?
I really hope not. I really hope we don't have anything bad come from all this happening again, but yeah, Cryptic is starting a lap. He is our first one. How about you give this a go, Titan, this time?
Yeah, so Cryptic, let me get the stupid telemetry up. It always does that every time. But into the heavy braking zone, going up the hill of turn number 1. Down into 3rd gear, now firing back through the gears, flat out into turn number 2. Now heading into the S section. Getting into The S's not leaving an inch here, just losing the engine braking in turn 6 here. 29.4 for 24.9 for the first sector. Just navigates through those S's. Just didn't even let off of the throttle too. He used the engine braking. Now into the braking zone of turn 11 now. DRS coming up. Overtake wide open and deployed. DRS wing open and deployed. Flying down the track up in the 8th gear. Heading into the speed trap. And he gets to 198 miles an hour into the heavy braking zone to finish off Sector 2. What's we got for Sector 2 split here? 101.1.
Cryptic, Polish driver. Been on pole 7 times. 1 race win to his name. None of them from pole. But tonight could be one where he at least does something that he hasn't done this season. Could be a pole. Could be maybe a shot at a win. But he invalidates. And that's something we don't usually see from Cryptic.
Yeah,
Back to the pit lane he'll go. Our first one across will now be Egg.
Yeah,
Actually, he's invalidated, so it's George.
Yeah, just a tiny bit too early. Cryptic was in that turn of turn 19. Just turned a tiny bit too early. Rode on that curb just a little bit. 30.7 is what George has for the benchmark. GTK 31.6, quite a bit ways behind. Next up is going to be Cookie, and the Ferraris are starting their laps after that.
Cookie a little wiggle out of the final corner, but goes fastest. To make us not remember that, 30.5, the target. Both Ferraris starting a lap nearly neck and neck, but our next driver to cross to finish a lap, I believe it's Egg now. No, it's Jack. George is the one in the middle sector. Now the final sector. Jack Miles. 1 front row start this season, but the qualifying race between him and TB, 8 and 5 he is compared to the teammate.
8 and 5, that's a interesting little side between those two, as Jack now navigates through the switchbacks, and very nice delicate exit there out of turn 15. Now through 16, 18 here, very nice and easy. Down to 5th gear through 19. Low riding on the curbs to the final braking zone here, and out of the final corner, coming across the line. 30.7 for Jack. That puts him just slightly behind George.
We have more crossing. We have
coming
Egg.
Up.
Didn't invalidate one this time. Will he get a lap that is ahead of the teammate or behind the teammate? Ooh, a little moment there out of the final corner, but he is ahead of the teammate. Front row for him for now. We have more coming. Leo Lund, Red Fire, both Ferraris now. Skither the first. And right now we already have a home driver on pole, but can one snatch it from the other? Both of them in the same voice chat as we mentioned prior, so a lot of knowledge probably put in between each other. Skither crossing, Skither provisional pole. Enter KVS. Will he respond with deployment used? He is 4th. Enter KVS is 4th on our charts. Next up, Leo Lund, 0.6 there in the 2nd sector. Red Fire, before him, will complete the lap ahead of Leo. Before Leo, I should say. But will he be ahead of Leo? It will become the question when everything is all settled. Red Fire, 7th fastest, but not far off the teammate. Leo Lund. Leo Lund in the Cash App Racing Bowl. Fastest in unprovisional pole right now. 30.0. Only 3/10 slower than his McLaren pole lap from last season.
Let's see. Let's take a look at the sector splits here. So, Leo Lund in Sector 1 was a 10th behind Skither in Sector 1. And then in Sector 2, the gap dropped down to just under a 10th and a half. And then in Sector 3, it was nearly 2/10 the difference.
Aston Martin have had some poles this season. 2, at least. None with Cryptic, but 2 with Leo. He might get a help here from a Mercedes. No, that Mercedes lets him go. That's Red Fire.
While we're waiting on Cryptic to finish off his lap, I actually just took a look very quickly. Coming into this race, with what's left for the points in the Drivers' Championship, well, taking a look at the drivers' championship in the chat in the Discord here, from 12th down, which is Cookie, all the way down to whoever's after that. They are eliminated from winning the drivers' championship. So literally, for going into this race tonight, if you get max points, the difference is basically 36 points, and Cookie is the top one eliminated with 34, and Cryptic is about 4 thousandths behind him in P4.
Not bad from Cryptic at all. Remember, he's getting a McLaren next season on next game. We also have the liveries that have been released for our next game as well. As of early this week, everyone knows what their car that they'll be driving looks like. It's always a nice sight. Jack Miles back out on the circuit now.
Yeah, Jack is going back out, which is basically going to be essentially the last running lap that these guys will be doing here. George is out on the track as well. So George currently sitting in P7, Jack currently sitting down in P8. Anything is possible as we don't know what could be going on in this span of time here. But you know what's really wild? Just take a look. If we include everything here, so literally 8.5 tenths separates first to ninth. But then when you go to George from Cookie all the way down to Red Fire, third through ninth, that's 7 cars within 3.5 tenths of each other. That is pretty dang tight.
I will let you take this Jack Miles lap that he is starting, as I have to quickly be right back. We have some predictions in the chat, but if you've not already, give us your prediction in the Twitch chat. Jack Miles, I'll keep you on board with him while I'll be back.
Yeah, Jet currently ready to go on what is going to be essentially his final lap of the Q3 session. And let's see what we got as he goes into the final corner to begin his time lap. There's George in the background just starting his time lap. But let us take a look at for Jack here as he navigates into turn number 1. Into the braking zone, keeps the 4th gear this time. We had someone in 3rd gear prior to that. After turn 2, now heading into the fun section of the S's. Turn 3, all the way to turn 10, through 4, 5, 6 now. In a 7. Improvement by about 7/100ths of a second. Cars getting out of the way. Through 9 and 10, heading up. And on the hill he comes. Into 7th gear, breaks down to 4th gear again, into turn 11, into the long back straightaway. The DRS is active for him. Overtake enabled as well. Flying down this circuit, this part of the track here. Getting to over 200 miles an hour, 202 in the speed trap as he goes into the heavy braking zone. Turn 12, now into the split. 2/10 up for Jack. That is going to put him right around close to Cryptic, but he needs to find some more improvement in the 3.
George Williams invalidated as Jack Miles is the only other one right now on a lap. Others starting out laps as well. Train of cars in that final sector. Jack Miles has not been on pole in 80 races of Tier 1, but could tonight be the night for Jack Miles? After his teammate got eliminated in Q2, Jack Miles is only 3rd. George now starts a lap. Leah will get there. Red Fire will get there. Now we switch our attention to NRM KVS in the first sector, starting a lap and starting one pretty good. 22 thousandths up on the improvement. Now it's the teammates behind Skither and then Cookie as well, who's not a teammate, but he's definitely acting like Ferrari Academy's best friend tonight for sure.
Cookie's over 2/10 up in Sector 1, by the way. Skither about 800ths up. Checker flag is active now. But let's see as we head to the Sector 2 split. As the 2 Ferraris and the Mercedes pretty tight-knit, close to each other here. Here comes KVS into the split, and the improvement goes to just about under 2/10. Skither, same thing. And Cookie, minute improvement, still about a 1/4 of a second up.
JTK 4/10 up, by the way, as well. We'll keep an eye on these cars crossing the line. Enter MKVS. 2 more corners to go through for the Finnish driver. Can he finish one at the top of the table for the first time in his RPL career? Across the line, DRS applied. Third, Skither, front row. He stays on it. Cookie is third. Next is JTK. And can JTK disrupt the guys at the front? Deployment used. JTK's only 9th. Now, Egg on a lap and on 5th place. George, he's on 1 as well. He maybe had a Mercedes get in the way. That is Red Fire, by the way. George across the line. George, no improvement. Red Fire, no improvement. Leo Lund improves again. And he's on pole for a 4th straight race in the United States. This one is back-to-back in Texas. 29.8, only a 10th off last season's pole time that he got. And Leo Lund is on pole for a 6th time this season. 22nd in his RPL career. It's the 4th pole for VCarb. Leo, Skither, Cookie.
And you know what's really wild is that despite with Leo Lund's lap getting improvement there, in Sector 1 was more crazy. Leo Lund was actually a tiny bit behind. He was 100th down in Sector 1, and he still did an improvement. Is about a quarter of a second up. Fair credit to him.
Leo Lund, back-to-back poles for the 3rd time this season, but the 6th pole for him on the season, and it is raining right off the bat. Let's see what the patches look like here. KVS's stream is up this time. He's loaded in. Okay, so light rain patch for the first 4 to 5, and then overcast to end the event. So we might get dry by the end of this thing. It's all said and done.
So it's 8 patches, and you said that
7.
7. So basically 4 patches of light rain, and then the remaining
5
3 are overcast. Oh, 5.
5 patches of light rain, 2 of overcast.
Okay, so we could possibly, so we're likely going to be seeing, if the rain clears out pretty quick, we could be seeing the, depending on the rain, drying of the rain, and all that stuff, we could be seeing maybe softs or mediums at the end of the race.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be. Definitely one of the two. Depends on how the tire wear is here for the softs.
Well, we know it's definitely it's definitely a 2-stop. We know that.
Yeah, but you gotta make your inners last. Yesterday in the race, another back-to-back weekend of wet racing in Tier 2, Lyro Fusion tried to stick it out and make the inners go the full way, or at least the way until the dry period, and it didn't work out. Yeah, we had some people do that in Zandvoort as well in Tier 2. But this week in Tier 1, it's similar things there. The countdown has started. Home race for 2, as we mentioned. Here's your full grid ahead of the field. Everyone at inners, less than 20 seconds. Titan, what do you expect the start to be like? You got to be trundling around turn 1, just expecting not to cause an accident, not to be in the accident.
I'm thinking yes, this is probably going to be showing a bit of, we're going to be seeing some collisions, possibly. Just has to be careful going into that. Here we go.
Wet start. 5 red lights out of the drivers in Austin, Texas. Boogity, boogity, boogity. It is time to bring the action here, Texas style. Off the line, Leo Lund covering the Ferrari. He's going defensive already, big time. And the inside line, he's trying to hold up Skither. Big launch for Cookie, big launch for KVS. Side-by-side action out of turn 2. Contact made to the S as we go. There's trouble further back, but Leo Lund hangs on already. Cryptic and George trading places. That's Andrea, who had the caution flag there. Skither to the inside, trying at Leo Lund, and did not make success from it. Leo, Skither, Cookie, KVS, Jack, Egg, George, Cryptic, now Red Fire side by side with TB for 9th.
Yeah, quite an attack there as Skither again on the inside, trying to make Leo blink, but Leo fighting back. And
contact
just
with TB there.
Apart
TB with contact with Red Fire there. Those two, no love lost between them. Skidder to the inside! Big maneuver!
This is good.
Leo pitching! Both Italian cars going wheel to wheel. Skidder in front. Skidder pitched Leo. Leo off the road. Leo behind, but not anymore. Leo on the inside gets back ahead. Now Cookie's there. Three-car race, contact. Skidder gave Leo the boot. We see the positions traded as we watch the racing up front. 3 wide there with TB. Look at this mess in the midfield. Red Fire's in front of it. TB, KVS, Ding, JDK. Biggest loser, Andrea obviously had the lap 1 incident, but now it's KVS who had something happen in the middle sector. He was up there with Skidder, down 6 now.
My goodness, what a wild span of events here.
Oh!
Hello.
Ding and JTK wheel banging down the main straight. They've figured it out finally. But we have action everywhere. Knights and Danny. Alex and Miniko. Now we're single file. Biggest gainer, Miniko 3. And that was it. That was the only one up 3. SV is our first driver in the track limit penalty club Titan, and I don't think he's going to be the last either. 7/10 clear of Cookie.
Yeah, looks like so Skidder allowed Cookie to go through in at the exit of the switchback on the first lap, but it allowed Leo to just completely run away, and he is obliterating the ERS. He had 78 in there, now down into 22. And now Skidder clears Cookie to get back in a second, but Leo Lund is now a full second ahead and is gone.
It's safe to say Red Fire battling TB hampered his progress right there, but our championship leader Jack Miles up a place, crucially right there. George has lost touch to Jack, but he's with Cryptic as well, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, TB and Red Fire duking it out didn't help TB's cases. He had a really good start, but couldn't go anywhere from the 3 wide action, the kerfuffle there. It was all a mess. But enter him KVS. I'm not sure what happened to him at all. He lost places after being in contention with his teammate Skidder for a top 3 place. That's no longer in the conversation.
Yeah, definitely not looking like at all here, but looks like a Cryptic, by the way, just did a slingshot on George in a turn 1 to get himself into P6. And despite the little overshoot on the exit, Cryptic still maintained it. So solid dive bomb on Cryptic's part.
And he disrupted. George trying to gain on Jack. Look at the difference now. 1.3 compared to 1.0 moments ago. Our top 5 remain in a second of the car they're chasing. George on low fuel, by the way. I'm not surprised that we have at least one of the drivers like that. Egg is the same way there. Obviously, with the rain, they're expecting to not burn as much fuel as they usually would.
More than likely, they probably put the exact, dead on exact amount of fuel and just hoping and praying here. As KVS, by the way, gets past Red Fire before the braking zone and slides himself into P9 just ahead of KVS. George is under threat from TB.
And will TB go for the dive now? No, he'll think better of it. Day late, dollar short right there if he did go for it. 2/10 now with Skidder and Leo. Skidder's bringing the gap down on Leo.
Yeah, but Skidder had to use quite a bit of ERS in order to get that available to him. Skidder has about 35% ERS available, while Leo Lund has basically double.
TB finally clears George, but it's caused a little stack up here. Out of the final corner. Andrea's out of the pit lane. He may have had damage, but now TB is going to go defensive. George on the attack. George on the inside. Here he goes. Shuts the door there. TB off the road. TB has to concede the place. He does. And Andrea, who pitted, is repairing the front wing, it looks to be, as he's stationary for quite a bit longer. But Skidder's all over the back of Leo, hounding our race leader. May have picked up a warning in the process for track limits.
Yeah, you definitely have to be very careful in the S section when trying to attack or try to unsettle the driver ahead. But this is where things is going to get interesting here. This is where these guys are going to tear it up here. Overtake is deployed from both of these guys. Well, let's
We're
see
going defensive for
Skitter's gonna
third
have
as well.
chance here.
Defensive maneuver. Cookie with Egg. Skither not going to go past Leo this time, but Egg does clear the Mercedes driver. Now, moving around, jockeying for positions. JTK on the inside of Red Fire. Frenchman versus Dutchman. This is the last point spot. Wheel banging again. More touching. Red Fire hangs on for now.
We'll switch back on JTK.
Oh.
Trying to sneak the peek in, but just can't seem to get the momentum just right on the exit. Red Fire breathes a sigh of relief to keep that P10 up.
Look at this! Skither outpowers Leo Lund! Skither reclaims the lead! What a nice placement with this Ferrari he has just done!
That was actually a nice overtake, especially on that outside by Skither to get by Leo just before the braking in turn 19. Solid stuff on his part, but let's see what will happen.
Here we go! Here we go!
George,
TB!
yeah.
Huge lunge! Didn't get it done in time! George is there, and this time is being costed for TB. Contact, lots of it to the S section, side by side. TB hangs on. I'm just gonna say, George helping out his fellow Welshman, whether he means to or not. George is really going defensive here on TB. TB has the place covered for now, but the time has been lost.
Yeah, quite a little bit of an action-packed battle between the two. They were side by side into turn 2, and as they were heading into turn 3, TB was just ahead heading into it, and George wisely playing it safe not to compromise the race early and backed out. He was like, okay, you had it this time, but I will be back and try to check punch again. Speaking of which, Jack's sneaking a peek and going down the inside in a braking zone against Cookie, and he is up in the P4.
Prior successful for Jack Miles. 4th place is his over Cookie. This train that we have right here fighting goes all the way back to 12th. Minico and Penguin switching spots once again. That's for 15th. And Minico's already caught up to his teammate, who did get to qualify unlike him.
Yeah, Minico had to fill in for Maxwell, who just decided to be MIA and not come in the race here. KVS, by the way, goes along, either goes inside or a long way around and gets past George to get himself in the P8 now.
Another overtake from the Ferrari driver in that triple right-hander we didn't expect.
Yeah, some must be. I think George is having a little bit of a trouble. And speaking of trouble, SV off into the wall.
Maybe not in the wall, but definitely caution flag for him. Red Fire defending on JTK, now bumping George. George is struggling in these conditions, it has to be said. He had a halfway decent start, but he is down 1 now and was defending for his life on TB, who has just drove clear of everything. He's now caught up to DRS range of Cryptic. Obviously, we don't award DRS in these conditions, but you have to make note of when you're in a second of a driver or not, because you can see the spray compared to not.
Yeah, very true on that. Not gonna lie, but yeah, George is. I actually wonder what's going on with George here. He was doing pretty decently first couple laps, and then started falling apart just a little bit. Maybe the setup, maybe a setup that he's got is just not paying dividend. Is not paying the right dividends to him. And
JTK,
maybe, yeah,
alongside Red Fire.
Inside, going on, still side by side, but Red Fire keeps him back for now.
Switchback at the switchbacks, as you would say, a Titan, but losing the rear. Very loosey-goosey moment from JTK.
I think if JTK did not have that little snap on the exit, I think he could have gotten Red Fire into the second switchback, but that is the unpredictable nature of these wet conditions. If you're a little too aggressive on the throttle, George is in.
Ding is as well. Are they feeling like an early stop to dry tires? Why are the drivers pitting? You have to wonder, what tire compound are they going to?
New
More
inners.
inners. More inners. Interesting. TB got clear Cryptic. Finally, he got that move done. I was just about to speak about how vital that is for the sake of his race and the championship. TB 6, Jack 4th. So TB trying to limit the damage he has done already by being out of qualifying. And it does make sense to go to inners now if you're struggling. If you're going for the sake of a 2-stop like we mentioned, Titan.
Yeah, and speaking of which, in the live championship standings here, Leo Lund right now is going to be looking at 19. Is looking at 19 points compared to Jack, who's going to be getting 12.
Hold on.
So Leo,
hold on. Jack alongside was gaining and is through. Jack Miles claims 3rd place on the circuit.
Yeah, so now in the live championship points, if the race ended as it stands, Leo will only be gaining 4 points on Jack. That'll bring him down to 60 points. While TB right now is sitting in 6th, looking at 8 points, which means he'll be 39 points behind. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. 39 points behind Jack if this race ended right now.
Something I've just been made aware of is that Knights was on 65% on his rear when he ended up finishing lap 6. This is why Cookie, Cryptic are now blinking to the pits.
So these inters are getting absolutely shredded to bits.
Ding is all over the back of George here as well. Ding has not really had the best of days so far, whether it be starting from qualifying now to the race, but he's right there with George for company. Where do Alex Norris, Cryptic, Cookie, who are pitting, all come out? Cryptic on the main straight. While George is racing Ding, George does clear Cryptic with the long way round. That got hairy. That got tight.
Yeah.
So, no surprise, Titan, if we see our top 5 come in anytime soon. Cookie already did.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. Because if Nice has 65% of the rears and they've only done 7 laps, who knows what this is looking at?
That was only 6, though. That's over 10% a lap.
It's that snake section.
Terrible with it.
It's the snake section. That's what murders it.
Too. Big wiggle from SV. It'll allow Knights to be on the back of him, and his Academy teammate will go through while SV pulls off to let him go. Yeah, Titan.
I'm on board with Egg.
Go ahead.
I'm just on board with Egg as he's chilling right behind Jack, but I can see Jack just slipping and sliding on the rear through the triple right. Egg nearly slides over.
Our leader is in. Jack Miles joins him. Egg also peeling off as well. These intermediate tires are shot through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
KVS feels like his tires are falling off a cliff as well. Where do they come out with everything going on? Minico staying out. I think the cars with worse tire wear and the drivers who are struggling here are going to be at a disadvantage. Look at the drivers also staying out. Yellow flags. SV.
Well, Cookie comes out and he is ahead of Jack. So Cookie jumps Jack and Egg, but is behind Skither, who is trying to get past Penguin.
Caught him napping. Now Cookie needs to get Penguin, who's struggling. Cookie, which way's he go? Almost off the circuit, but through! What a move!
Oh, that was close.
It's like you're going against Zero AI with these tires being shredded to pieces here. Penguin in the way of Jack. You're a sitting duck if you're a driver on worn tires. It does feel like it is a crossover of some extent.
This time, I think.
Yeah. Well, it does feel like it's a crossover of some extent, except it's not the tires. It's the wear of the tires.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
Egg. Penguin. Penguin, obviously in the same academy. Lets him go. Red Fire with Knights. Remember, Knights has already pitted. Red Fire just did. Knights ahead of KVS right here, who's not had the best of races so far. Had a terrible start. You mentioned Leo and TB. We'll watch right now. Leo's staying out. TB is in. Minico ahead of Skither here. Will he let the Academy teammate go? He probably has to. He does. He might get in the way of Danny here, or Cookie, either one. Minico in, though. He'll think better of it.
Too.
We have numerous drivers who've pitted already. Leo Lund, one of our only ones to stay out. Cookie, fastest lap. How's the weather report for the race?
He's an esports driver, so he will know how to manage tires on these areas. And let's take a look. So the gap is about 14.7 seconds between the.
Ding got TB. Ding got TB. That's crucial. I know TB was really not in this fight, I guess you could say. Look at this in the S section. He put a nose in there that he shouldn't have, and he backed out immediately.
Yeah.
While that was happening, Alex Knight's penalties.
That was smart on TB. I think that little attack there wasn't gonna work there. And Ding's had a little slide at the end of the S's. They're fighting, little contact into the break on turn 11, and TB gets ahead and gets past Ding to reclaim 8th place. But Skither, by the way, compared to Leo, right now we're not even about halfway through the lap, and Skither has gained almost 2 seconds on Leo.
JTK up another place. This one's Knights. Jack is on the back of Cookie. Jack is alongside Cookie. Jack trying to reclaim 3rd place in this race, but Cookie slams the door shut.
Yeah,
Tim Ben was wondering how the weather report looks for the race Titan, as we said in the pre-race show. And on the grid,
staying out.
Wow. On the grid, we said 5 patches of light rain, as we saw from KVS's stream, and 2 patches of overcast. And he gets George, or does he? George has it covered off.
TV outside of wiggle on the exit of turn 19 had to go wide and off. So George did a decent little defense there, and TV just caught off just a little bit. But fair racing between these two. TV into the penalty box, turn 2 early for turn 1.
George is Jack Miles' best mate right now, covering off TV side by side at the S's once again.
No, that's not a good idea.
And it didn't work out. TB had to back off. Look at him going for it this time. Argy Bargy with George, big time. Switchback of dreams. TB successful.
I think George knew what was coming ahead there. And speaking of which, in the braking zone, turn 11, Jack gets by Cookie to get in a third, and Skither is now 9 seconds behind Leo Lund. Skither gained 3 seconds on the span of 1 lap.
This is quite the spectacle, safe to say. Look at George recharging that battery to use it right now. Down the back straight. George on TV again. Contact. George shoving him off the road. TB clips him. Now Ding is there. Ding on the inside. 2 by 2. TB slides. George slides. Knock off each other. TB with a switchback, but George has it covered.
George playing the heavy team game. He knows what's going on here, because he knows TB is a threat in to a driver's championship. He's willing to help out.
It's basically country mate help out here.
Yeah, he's helping Leo, that's for sure here.
No, he's not even helping Leo. He's helping Jack. TB is hindered here. Look he would have been near Cryptic. Again to turn 1. 3 wide.
Whoa! Hi, Red Fire.
Red Fire sneaking one in there.
3 wide.
No love lost between those two. No love lost between these two as well. Contact. More contact. TB cut off. Red Fire and the fresher rubber trying to give this a go. Oh! Lots of wheel banging. George gets hit.
Wow.
Red Fire through.
That was some tight wheel-to-wheel racing between Red Fire and George there. TB's now back in and saying hi.
3 abreast into turn 11. TB with a huge send. 5 seconds.
By both.
Adrift from Cryptic. With all this fighting, with all this dueling for a position, enter MKVS in the fight now. 4-car race. GTK gets Ding. 4 wide momentarily.
Oh, Lord.
Interim KVS sent one for the heavens. Now the inside. 3 wide a moment ago.
God.
TB and Red Fire. Like we said, no love lost between them. But George, same thing with him and TB. Leo finally in. Oh. Oh, Red Fire off. TB got the penalty, but Red Fire and TB clash.
I'm thinking what happened was in that 4 wide when TB got sent way wide. He got an illegal overtake.
Oh!
One of them, and he couldn't give it back.
Real banging down the straight with KVS and Red Fire. JDK says hello as well. Real banging with TB and Ding now. 3 wide. JDK tried to go through the middle. No space there. Leo Lund exits out 6th.
Yeah, but you got to give the credit to George here with him doing all that fighting with everybody, with TB, Red Fire, and KVS. All that fighting allowed Leo Lund to be minimalized on the damage.
George cutting off TB. TB sending one. This is getting aggressive with these two. TB off the road again. Has to rejoin this race behind George. TB sending one. He's not happy with George. He'll cover off again and just slam the door shut this time. This is tempers flaring at its finest for 10th place on the track. 11th with the penalty. And worse for TB as he'll drop even further when this race is all said and done. JTK on the inside. Real banging with Red Fire. TB covering off George now. 2 places for fights here. This is 8th and 9th. 10th and 11th. And it was a tier 2 race here. A while ago, George got aggressive with Wavy. This time, his rival's TB. But maybe a bit more cleaner. Maybe.
Yeah, I did see at the end when they were side by side going through the end of the S's in turn 10. I'm wondering if TB is going to argue that George forced him off to go wide in the turn out of turn 10, but
Ding in again.
Who knows? That could go to the stewards in regards if that gets reported there. But who knows what's going to happen in regards to that. But yeah, Ding and Knights are back in. These were the first ones to pit on the first time. And we have an issue, that's Andrea.
Yup. I was just going to say, Titan, you made a fair point earlier. I thought with George fighting TB only like this, it was for the sake of Jack. He's hindering TB's progress. He's got him a track penalty, and he also got the 10-second. I mean, TB's clear of George by a ways now, but with that being said, he hampered his progress. And it has to be said, it's not just TB's race he was hindering there and helping Jack's. He was also assisting Leo's race there. No love lost between Red Fire and TB. TB sends one, sends a prayer as well, shoves Red Fire to the curb, and gets the place. Miniko and George now, these two. Also another pair with no love lost between them two.
What lap did Ding go in for his
lap
6? Yeah, 6. So
Leo
for him to only
got
go
cryptic
6,
by the
7
way.
laps, that's just wild.
It is. SV has had a nightmare of a race. I believe he's a lap
He's
down
lagged
now.
out.
And he
He's
lagged out.
lagged out,
Yeah,
too.
that's right. Yeah, so thank you very much on that one. But with that being said, Titan, Leo Lund got cryptic, and he's in a whole different world here, even though he's on 5-lap fresher tires.
I mean, we'll be seeing a couple of these guys coming in very shortly, because with George struggling just a little bit, we could be seeing him coming in very short. Actually, no, he's coming in now. So that means with George in, that means we could be expecting Cryptic, Cookie, and maybe a couple of the guys in the top 3 to come in very shortly.
Hards for George up Williams.
Really? Wow.
Did he mean
This
that?
is unusual.
Did he mean to do that? SV's joined back. He's in the way there of some cars racing it out. KVS trying to defend for 7th place on the road. TB with a little dummy move now. Plant your car wherever you can, TB says. I'll try to go the other way. Mediums for Andrea now.
Yeah.
Are we getting to a crossover point now is going to become the question. 2/10 the gap with TB and KBS. Gaining alongside and back through maybe. TB is trying to repass KVS. It's a drag race down the straight. TB does get the place while JTK is there for company. Yeah. A little late one there.
I just look behind TB and just see JTK just come in out of nowhere like Randy Orton RKO. JTK's like, oh, hi there. How are you?
Even Invade thinks it's a bit weird from George defending on TV like this, but I think it does make sense with the championship race. Oh, there you go. Will we see others go to dry compounds like George and Andrea have done? More is welcoming. Cryptic. SV with a penalty as he joined back. Enters for Cookie. Cryptic, what choice attire does he go? Red Fire's in as well. Double stack for the Mercedes drivers.
But I don't think he'll be affected too much. Mediums for Cryptic.
All right, Red Fire, mediums. Penguin, Alex are in. Alex's teammate SV is out as he tried to take control. It's our first driver gone from today's event.
Yep. Big rip there. Storm Penguin on the mediums too. And
we'll look what Alex goes, but I want to look at Red Fire coming out of the pits behind Knights. We'll see what different grip level this is in a moment. Yeah, Hards is an interesting call. Cookie on the back of Danny. Remember, Cookie went on inners, so he might be looking at a 3-stop. Cookie caught Danny napping and gone through. DRS enabled, here you go. So this might be a bad strategy call for Cookie, but it has stopped raining now. It didn't stop raining until just that moment ago when the DRS got enabled.
Well, given this sense, once everyone else on the inters come in, this is prime, I think this is prime mediums for everybody here. This is prime medium conditions.
Well, I'm going to keep an eye on Cryptic and Ding while I go be right back for 30 seconds. This is what to keep an eye on. Both us and teammates, differing strategies.
Well, Jack is going in. Egg is in as well. Leo and Skither have opted to stay out for the time being. Let's see what we got here as these guys go onto their tires here. And it's going to be mediums for both of them, as predicted. And Andrea, also the same incident for him, kicked out and left as well. So that is the end for him. More cars coming in. TB affected by a little bit, but serving that 10-second, that is going to hurt him. As Red Fire into the penalty box as well. And TB very hampered here. 10-second to serve. Has served it. Onto the mediums he goes. And everyone else onto the mediums. So this is going to be quite a spectacle here. As Egg is in fifth, sorry. Jack in third. And the cars that have yet to pit to get off of those inters, we have five right now. That is Knights, Ding, Cookie, Leolun, and Skither. So these guys will be coming in this time around, I think.
They have to. They have no other choice.
Yeah.
TB served that 10-second. As you said, he's in no man's land. Behind George again.
I wonder if this is going to give Jack the lead here.
F1 Shorts feels that Leo's kind of screwed his strategy. Right now. Yeah. Well, Skither and Leo, the top two right now on the circuit. JTK breezing by Knights. No contest there. Leo, behind Skither, has a choice to make, and they're both in. Oh, but Leo slid on the pit entry. That could have been disastrous, but luckily got it woed down. Cryptic finally clears Ding. Mediums for Skither. Leo, we've seen some strategy calls interesting enough in the past. What will it be for him? Mediums. Cookie's in as well. Cookie, poor choice from him. Really poor choice. But I think the guy who also messed up from this is Ding.
Skither stays ahead of Jack.
By less than a second now than prior. It's the gap has come down. TB with another track limit penalty awarded to him.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a race to forget on TB's part, not going to lie here.
Yeah.
Whoa, Leo's car just got evil in the S's.
Not what you want, but he still is gaining the gap down an egg. 1.9 the gap. 1.1 the gap between our two leaders. Remember, DRS is enabled. He's within
Jack
a
doesn't
second, but
have
does
it.
not have it by the detection, yeah. You
Didn't
know who
have it by
does,
the
though?
detection,
And will?
yeah.
JTK.
JTK, yeah. Some more drivers getting in the penalty box. Danny, I see George too.
Yeah, remember, we had only 5 drivers finish this race without a track limit penalty last season in this race. But JTK in the path of NRM KVS, Cookie behind Red Fire, Minico in the points as well after having that qualifying ban. Very impressive there. Danny shoots ahead of George.
Danny getting himself ahead of George here, and these two both have the same track limit penalties, 3 seconds to their name. And now Jack inherits the fastest lap of the event, but maybe that could possibly change when Leo Lund gets his first actual lap. And Cookie now into the penalty box. That is going to allow Minico to advance his positioning. Because he's looking at P8 right now.
8th, yeah, exactly. Both Mercedes have a choice to make here. What do? Cookie lets Red Fire go.
You mean, yeah, the other way around, you mean. Red Fire lets Cookie go.
Yeah, thank you. Cookie reclaims the place.
Well, towards the front, Jack is within half a second of Skither. I wonder if he's close enough to warrant an attack.
By the way, a few moments ago, Andre out of this race, weaving and bobbing down the back straight with our 2 leaders. These two collided in the F2 championship we have in RPL not too long ago, while championship contenders. Skither knows any chance to hold on to a championship hope, even if it's slim to none, is going to be beating Jack tonight. Leo's not doing it, so he won't bring the gap down. Alex Norris penalty. He's fighting with Knights for plumb last of the cars still running.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much so.
Sauber,
And a lot further back, looks like TB's trying to get within DRS of George. He's down 13th though. But with 6 seconds of penalties for him, like I said, TB he wishes he had this race was a bit of a forgetful one, especially with those clashes with some of the other drivers like George and Red Fire in that mid stage of the event. As Skither now fastest lap, only to get smashed apart by Leo, and now Ding is in the penalty box.
3 stops, by the way, from Ding, Cookie, Knights. We'll see how that kind of hindered their progress after this event's over, or just you could kind of take a look for yourself. Now Cookie with the fastest lap there, down in 8th.
Yeah.
But Red Fire has Minico for company down this main straight. Minico is not going to stun one. He's had a very, very quiet day for Haas. He's really saying, look, you give Luke Grange the seat over me. I'm going to prove why I should be in it instead of him, or instead of someone else.
You know, I haven't been seeing the full set, but what seats are left for Tier 1?
We'll talk about that after. We got a race on our hands for the lead. Jack is gaining. Is he there to make the move? No, but Leo gets 3rd over Egg. Leo's time is ticking. He wants to get in that lead train.
Yeah, he's about 4 seconds behind Jack right now, and last I checked about 5 laps ago.
Oh no!
Between the track limit warning for them, Skither has 1, Leo has 1, Jack has 1 as well.
Minico past Red Fire. Look at these two back at it again, dueling for the place. TB gonna go the long way around on George, and George shuts it. George again shuts it with TB having the extra grip. TB's got to be wondering at this point. I'm not saying this is what it is, but TB has to be wondering, is he just brake checking me?
Man, who knows? Who knows what it could be, but all we know is that TB needs to keep a cool level head, because if he plays silly, literally if you play silly games, you win stupid prizes. That's the old saying there. But now TB on the inside gets the better exit, down the inside, flying by, and go into turn number 1 ahead of George in P12. but TB does have 6 seconds of penalties, so he really needs to step up and try to at least try to salvage something. But there's only 7 laps to go.
Skither once again moving around down the back straight to try and break the toe on lap 21. Jack Miles is still behind and will stay behind. Leo and Egg, third place up for grabs. JTK having a quiet day as well, up in 7th. KVS in 6th. Cryptic in 5th has lost touch to Egg, but that was bound to happen with the way his race was going. And JTK tucking back and behind KVS. He won't go for one late on the brakes. TB wants to go for one on Danny, though. Slingshots by him.
Yeah, down that back straightaway gets it done here. And I'm just taking a look. So far with this lap wrapping up here between the top 3, with Leo Lund, by the way, given where he is 3.7 seconds behind Jack. Where compared to the last lap, Leo Lund has only gained 0.3 of a second to Jack.
Wow.
So, I mean, factoring in everything, if it's still 0.3 the gap and all that such after every lap, Leo is not going to catch the top 2. He won't catch them.
TB with the fastest lap, but what does that matter for his race? He's just trying to catch Minico and Red Fire, who have penalties. It might matter for a point or two, actually. But Minico got a penalty moments prior.
Let me take a look at the penalty marks here. Well, if TB can get past Red Fire, he'll be okay. I mean, and gap Danny, he should be okay.
Jack in the slipstream of Skither, keeping behind.
Up, but
Egg back past Leo.
Yeah, switching it up.
Will we see a swap for 6 now? JTK's been hounding the back of KVS, who's caught up to Cryptic.
Yeah, JTK is really putting that pressure onto KVS here, but you know, you got to give fair credit to JTK. He's been playing solid this entire time here, as Red Fire, by the way, on that back straight, gets past Minico to get into P9. But bear in mind, Red Fire has 6 seconds of penalties, Minico has 3. So if Minico doesn't get another penalty, he can't get Red Fire here. Thanks for this lap. Very nice.
NRM KVS almost in DRS range of Cryptic, but not there yet. By the way, only the top 7 without a penalty. And yeah, JTK won this race back in Tier 2 when he became the champion that season. He does deserve a lot of credit for his showing today.
Yeah, very much so. Just take a look at that top 7 once again. Jack on the last lap just got his 2nd track limit warning, so one more, Jack could be facing a penalty. Skither and Egg have 1 warning. Leo Lund got a 2nd track limit warning back on lap 17, so he's at risk. Cryptic got a 2nd track limit warning back on lap 3. But
Egg and Leo swap again. Leo back pass now.
Yeah.
Jack's there. He was 9/10 back almost at that DRS detection point, but used a lot of battery. He did his fastest sector 1 of the race, so the times are improving regardless of the tire wear. KVS and DRS range of Cryptic. Striking distance there as well.
This could be a nice little fight towards the end here between these 3 for the 5th place spot. Cryptic doing solidly well in the Aston. KVS handling himself solidly well in P6. So far he's looking at some really nice looking points.
Oh.
And that TB, another penalty, this time in the switchback.
Yeah, we'll put you now on the penalties here with everything racking up now. Most penalties in terms of track limits, TB.
Yay.
Leo got the fastest lap. He's bringing the gap down on Jack and Skither, but Jack is there.
Still the same amount. Still the same gap, though, from a couple laps ago. Leo has not gained any time. So I think Leo Lund is out of it. He's not going to go... at best, he's going to get 3rd unless Skither and Jack wind up crashing each other.
Yeah, he's in the catbird seat. Cookie with another penalty because of track limits. He went out of bounds another too many times.
Well,
Minako, by the way,
that would
ninth
help
place. Another
Minako,
shout out
but
like GTK just again. He passed Red Fire moments ago for our lead. Not there.
maybe not. Ooh,
Tucks
never
back
mind.
in.
I thought Jack would look for it, but no, not there.
Yeah, no, not when you're from that far back. He realized that he's setting himself up for the last lap. Remember, Jack got passed in the last lap by Egg for a first win earlier this season. KVS is not waiting any longer. KVS goes through on Cryptic. JTK follows suit as well.
Cryptic just caught sleeping just a little bit, unfortunately. So KVS now up in the 5th. This is going to be a nice points haul for Ferrari. 35 points on the board for them right now. And they're going to gain a good amount of points here. They're going to gain 17 points on McLaren right now.
Red Fire ahead of Minako now. He got the upper edge from 9th, but I think Minako wanted to go for another one, but realized it'd be a day late, dollar short there. Cryptic down 2 in that battle, as you were saying, Titan.
Oh,
this
yes.
brawl is not over yet. GTK turned on the battery a moment there, out of the final corner. But
Well,
stays on none.
Well, speaking of a day late and a dollar short, the last lap, Leo Lund has actually gained nearly half a second on the cars ahead on Jack ahead of him, and that gap is still shrinking down just a little bit. It was 3.8 the last lap, but when they crossed, the gap was 3.3. So Leo Lund gained half a second on that last lap, but I think it's a little too little, too late here, as Jack trying to still increase that pressure on Skither right now, but not there enough.
Jack made an error.
Yeah, I see that in the background.
You're really pushing yourself by the end of this race to try and make up all the lost ground you can. GTK is in the draft of KVS. And one thing to mention, by the way, Skitter's had 4 podiums at COTA. Jack only 1. But he's had a podium at every US circuit Jack has.
Minako just got by Red Fire.
Again, and TB is there, but he does have that 9 second. If he didn't have the 9 second, he's technically racing for points.
Skither got the fastest lap now.
And Leo Lund is under pressure for 3rd place. Egg, the teammate, gonna go through. They have to be working together here, and it seems like by switching at the right moment, that is good for them. And yes, now 9 seconds joining TB there. JTK close up to KVS, Cookie close up to Cryptic. We got battles all over. Battles brewing down the main straight. JTK in the DRS and not gonna go for it.
Now TB has the fastest lap, but unfortunately he's down in 11th, so it will not apply here. But now Cookie, with that 9 seconds, this is going to perk the ears of Minako here, because he is 6.2 behind Cookie. So if he can claw at least a couple of tens, he can steal that 8th place from Cookie. But Minako is under immense pressure from both Red Fire and TB. A little contact by Red Fire as Leo London Egg switch again. This time TB on the outside going a long way around. Gets past Red Fire and does take 10th place. But he needs to get a gap here. There's like 3 laps left.
Cookie and Cryptic swap. JTK finally looking for a move, but did not go for it. No success on that one. Jack Miles closed up to Skither. But it seems
on the
to be
inside.
For the last lap.
Minako. Whoa! Minako slide.
Loosey-goosey on that Haas.
Yeah.
Jack Miles fastest lap.
Fastest lap.
But what's the ERS comparison looking like? 37% with a lag spike. A lag spike. Skither caught out. Jack with the lead. And Skither has more battery too. It seems like Skither may have had a screen freeze or a lag spike of some sort, which gave Jack the lead. But I don't think Jack wanted the lead right there. He wanted to wait for it.
Yeah, now this is going to be interesting here as we head to the back straightaway here. Now,
Error
Leo
from KVS. GTK on the inside. Nothing made of it.
Yeah, nothing made of that. Nothing made of that, but it's a 4-car train for the 5th place spot. Yeah, GTK, Cookie, and Cryptic involved in there. And TB has his own little mini train. Meanwhile, for the back, Ding passing George to get himself into... Wait, George is pitting. He's going to steal fastest lap.
Egg and Leo staying put this time. We're going to focus on our 2 leaders in a moment, but I want to switch back to 5th here. Good race from KVS after having a bad start. JTK, quiet race. Cryptic had a good race, but it's kind of all gone in the gutter after getting overtaken. Not by 1, not by 2, but by 3 cars in the fight.
This is going to get interesting here for the final lap because in regards to the battery available heading into the final corner here, Jack has 70% available. Skither has a full battery available.
1 lap to go. In
This is gonna get
Coda,
good.
the U.S. Grand Prix could be decided on that back straight, like we have had at times ago. A first win was decided with ads before in Season 9. Late in the race with a few to go, Skither won this race back in Season 8. Jack holds on right now, looking for a 4th win on the season, 9th all-time, 1st at the circuit. Skither looking for another win as well, back-to-back weeks. Could be win 28 in Tier 1, and it also could be a 5th win in the States. Egg by Leo, TB by Minico, but our focus is up at the front. DRS applied this time.
On board with Skither. Let's see what happens here. The deployment and
Here we go.
everything. This is all
Jack
on the
as
line
well.
here.
Here comes the weaving and bobbing. It's all on the line. Lap 28 out of 28. Skither on the move. On the long way. Jack has the inside, and Jack has to concede the place. Skither at his home race is in the lead. Leo back through for 3rd. Can Jack mount a last lap attack in these final couple of corners? Skither holding on and keeping ahead.
GTK
And Leo.
getting past.
Leo does hold on for 3rd as he tried to go through and keep Egg off. And JTK did get KVS. Back-to-back weeks. Ferrari are back on top. His 5th win in the States comes tonight. Skither wins in Texas.
Nice.
Once again, his 28th win in RPL F1. Leo gets 3rd. Hanging on there. Egg is 4th. Jack with his 12th podium on the season, extending the championship lead. And across the line, Alpine get 3rd best result of the season. JTK is 5th.
Very nice stuff.
KVS 6th, Cryptic 7th, Cookie 8th. TB gets the fastest lap, just to be beaten by Minico and Redfire on those penalties. Danny claws into the points there, stealing one at the very end.
Wow. That was a nice
Minico and
little...
Danny.
That was a nice little fight right at the end for all those guys. For Skither to get back-to-back for Ferrari. Very solid stuff there. But, I mean, some may view this as a little bit of
There you
bias,
go.
but... Yeah,
George nabbed
gets
the
it.
fastest
He
lap. Ding
steals
did now.
it.
TB does not get to keep it for extra credit. Ding does.
But anyways, I think...
Now Knights does! Knights nagged it at the end! 4 different
Wow.
fastest laps traded at the end of the race. Driver of the day from the game, waiting, Minico. I agree.
Well,
Either him or
I'm actually
JTK.
saying... I want to say JTK, actually. I think it's between either one of those two. JTK and Minico. Both playing solid race strategy, solid good runs, but if I had to give the nod on it, I would have to say, I would give to JTK given his consistency the entire event.
Skither raising the trophy, podium celebrations underway, champagne being sprayed in the USA. Skither winning once again. Ferrari have won in back-to-back weeks again. Skither's on it, on really good form. Unk still got it.
Okay, yeah, but not safe for work comment from Invade there in the driver's chat.
A last lap for the ages. Skither beats Jack Miles. Leo Lund 3rd. Egg 4th.
I can't believe
JTK
Knights just got fastest lap.
I know.
It's
not his first fastest lap either.
He got dinged by a 10th.
Minico from a qualifying ban in 9th. Danny had a quiet race. He's in 10th again. Tier 1 point again this season. JTK 5th. Here's your full results, folks. Yeah, it'd have to be between Skither, Minico, and JTK for me. Yeah, Knights.
I would say I'm saying just JTK and Minico. That's
yeah,
my
that's fair.
choice on that one.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I mean, you
after
got to
the
give fair
end.
credit to Skidder, though. Skidder did do pretty good. Not gonna lie.
He's been on really good form recently. Where has this been from Skither? Was it the disadvantage of cars with Mercedes that he had? I don't know.
Maybe.
What were you going to say there before our podium celebrations? You were going to say something.
No, I didn't say anything.
I thought you were going to say something. I cut you off.
Nah, you're good.
My apologies. Win 28 all time. His 5th win in the States. And his 3rd at Texas. Driver contracts. Leo Lund. All contracts terminated by mutual agreement.
Holy cow!
What is going to go on here? Is this a trade about to happen, maybe? Is this him done racing for the season? What's happening here? What's going to happen? Stay tuned, folks.
Dang. I'm shocked. I didn't see that coming.
Neither did I. What's going to unfold here? Well, folks, give us your thoughts on who you think should be driver of the day in the Twitch chat. Wherever JTKF1 fan is, they'll be pretty proud. 5th place. It's not his best Tier 1 finish, but he does have some good finishes in the States, like a podium in Vegas. But yeah, very well done. Skither won out on a last lap brawl once again. We spoke about driver of the day. We didn't get to speak about it though, but the championship lead extended again. Jack taking points when it matters most, even if it's not the race victory. He's now leading by 49 points.
Yeah.
McLaren extending the
points over TB.
championship as well on the constructor's side. Any closing thoughts before we say goodnight? And we also mentioned we're going to Mexico next week.
Yeah, I know Skither just dropped dropped his deficit down to 85, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good there. So, I mean, this is going to be quite interesting. I actually do wonder.
He won after a screen freeze, by the way. I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It
doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it's going to be quite wild to see. And, yeah, Mexico next week. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. I start day one of Fire 2, so that's gonna be pretty fun. But I will be appearing for Portimao the following weekend. And then when daylight savings time goes into effect, unless someone else says different, it's possible that for Tier 3 and Tier 2, Round 7 and Round 9, you might possibly hear me on there, because I might be available. Depends on how things go.
One thing I want to note, remember that race in Hungary that Skither had a screen freeze as well, and he had some great action with other drivers that day? I mean, that was the big thing. Great overtakes today again, winning the race. The patterns don't change, do they?
Ouch! That just hurts. Skither just said in the driver's chat, Jack, you basically won this championship now. TB turned into Checo. Ow!
Leo's gonna become... all right. I'm not gonna read that. Mutual respect between JTK and Cavis in their battle as well. KVS had a good comeback after having a stinker of a start. But yeah, Titan, we're in Mexico next week, but we're in Britain for F2 tomorrow as well, by the way. You were going to say?
I do wonder, Leo having his contracts terminated, I gotta look again, but I just realized if he gets signed by another academy, like as I say, if he goes to Sauber or something of the sort, would that give
Yes.
Would that give Leo penalty points because he swapped academies more than once this season?
Yes, it would.
I gotta look at that. I gotta make sure. I gotta look that up and be sure because I can't remember.
And just go to Haas for Haas Heritage. No, you wouldn't. You can't. There's no open spots there. I don't know. Someone's got to ask him before we before we end off the weekend for F2 in Silverstone tomorrow. If he's going to be going somewhere, he's just, only going down to reserve or going off completely. We'll have to see what happens. We'll tell you next time we're in Mexico for round 15 next week. Mexico City, round 15. If not, for the action that you tune into, catch us tomorrow for F2 Silverstone. We'll see if we can get a stream up for it. But nonetheless, Ryan, Titan, signing off. See you in Mexico. Have a good one, and goodbye.